How's it going, everyone? Back with another exciting EverQuestic adventure. Yeah, I know I'm late, guys. I know. I've been so busy the past 2 weeks, and I've rarely had time to play. And I'm motivated today. I'm motivated. I have a couple hours, so I'm gonna try to get a video done. Today we are on the Enchanter. I'm up in POM, but I'm finally gonna be doing the Enchanter key bindings video that I've been saying I'm gonna do for like a million years. So here we go, guys. We are gonna get started. I had to think a bunch how I'm going to structure this, and I had a great idea. I'm going to try something fancy. It's going to be different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be explaining the key bindings, and then I'll switch to a clip of it like in action on like how I break my charm the key bindings for it, and then switch to a clip of me actually doing it, or like targeting and stuff like that. And then at the end, I'll have a longer video of of a crazy pull where RNG craps on me, and it was pretty intense. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. I have some notes over here. Oh, by the way, I love this play. I love POM. It's so great up here. This is the chessboard. There are actually traps that you will fall down to the rat pit. Anyways, on track. Let's stay on track here. I have my notes here, and it's going to be more than key bindings. I'm going to go over quite a few topics, and again, for everyone, I'm not a master enchanter. I'm still learning stuff every time I play the enchanter, and yeah, so don't take this as like, oh, I am a mediocre enchanter. But one thing that I think is extremely important on the enchanter is key bindings. um, is binding everything so that you don't have to click, because playing an enchanter, and the bard actually, as I'm playing the bard more, but anyways, playing the enchanter is, it takes a lot of quick thinking, swapping spells, and you have to think and act fast, and that's why it's fun for me, but it's also frustrating because it hurts my brain sometimes. It hurts my brain. So I think having everything bound on the enchanter so you do not click that much is very beneficial. And at first, when you first set up all your bindings, if you're used to clicking, um, when you first set up all your bindings, it's going to take a while to get used to. Then all your muscle memory, it kicks in, and then you can just play without thinking. And I hit wrong buttons all the time. It still happens, but we do our best. But first thing I want to do is go over spellbook organization, how I organize my spells. I understand it's going to be different for everyone, but I'll show you how I do mine. And so let's go ahead and get started on the spellbook organization. The first 2 pages are I have them for spells that I swap in battle. It's when I'm in a battle, I'm fighting, and it is my most needed spells that I use all the time. You see, with Enchanter, you are constantly swapping spells in and out. So my first 2 pages are for that. And as you can see, I have some empties because I don't really know what to put there yet. I'm always playing with this and swapping stuff in and out of here, but this is usually what I use all the time. My charms and my tash and my rune fight, gates and stuff like this. Stuff that I'm always switching in and out. My nukes and mana sieve and my mimblers and stuff like that. And again, I play. Everyone's going to be different on what they use in battle, but this is what I use. So my first 2 pages again are for stuff that I am swapping in battle. And then if you go to pages 3 and 4, it's like a lot of my buffs and stuff that I still use a lot, but it's not like all the time. So I don't go to these 2 pages in battle. And then you go over. I get to like my stuns and my like roots and all of my mezzas still that I wouldn't be swapping to in battle. It's usually when I'm out of battle and whatever. Then you get over, and I start getting back to like random crap, like all of my all of my passies and stuff. Here's where all my pet stuff is. Reclaim, blah blah blah, and then all my illusions, and then it just gets back to crap that I throw back here. That I'm thinking maybe one day I'll use it. Who knows? But that is how I organize my spell book. I think it's very important to be able to swap two spells quickly that you need in battle, and not be like, oh, it's here, and then going back to this page, and yeah. So that's how I organize my spellbook. Again, everybody's different, but I think it's efficient. Okay, and you're going to be seeing in all my clips that I'm always going to be swapping spells out, and I'm essentially always in the first two pages. I rarely go back to past page 1 and 2. So let me look at my notes here. See, I'm getting fancy. This is fancy stuff. So now I want to talk about how do I open my spell book, because again, I bind everything. So how I have it set up, I press Shift F and it will automatically open up my spell book. And however you guys bind it is fine, but I highly suggest you have some sort of a macro or hotkey that will quickly open up your spell book. So when you're in battle, it's muscle memory again, because the Enchanter is always swapping spells in and out. So mine is set to Shift F and it pops open. Yeah, so important. Like it really is important. Instead of like you're going and then you have to go and you got to click over here or do whatever, I could just hit like Shift F and boom, it pops open, and he automatically sits. So yeah. So that to me is very important. Now that I have that hotkey on quickly opening up a spell book, the next thing I think is really important is how you load your spells. Slots 7 and 8 are my swap slots, as you're going to see pretty quick when I switch to clips. 1 through 6 is always set. I never swap these, and maybe one time I will, especially up in slot 1 is very important, but I don't for right now. My main swap slots are 7 and 8, and you're going to want to be able to quickly load spells, like, because you're in battle, it's intense, there's stuff going on, charms are breaking, sometimes you'll have like 3 mobs locked down. So obviously you guys know how to get rid of spells, and what a lot of people do, and if you choose to do this, cool, it's no big deal, is say you get your spell and then you come here and then you know, however you want to do it. I highly recommend that that you use the method that I'm about to show you. So when you get a spell on your cursor, if you press the button that casts the spell, it'll automatically load. So watch. So I'll get into these keys in a second, but like it's Shift 3 is 7 and Shift 4 is 8. So as you can see, I can hit the button that you use to cast the spell, and it'll load it up in that spell, gem. So then say I'm in battle and I need to get a Berserker Spirit up, or I need to switch quickly to a Tash and a Nuke, I press Shift F, it opens up my spell book, I do a Tash and then a Nuke, and that stops you from going like spellbook and then going to Tash, and then you're going up here. If you understand what I mean, I can quickly hit Shift F, and then, which I'll use a different one than Tash because I just got the new Tash and it loads extremely slow. So I'll use the 2 nukes. I got the big nuke and the small nuke. Say you need them and to quickly do them, you just hit the button you use to cast. So that's extremely important to be able to quickly open up your spell book and load the spell. Again, you get the spell on your cursor like so, and then you press the button that you use to cast the spell. It's as simple as that. So like here, I'll show you up in here. I'll get rid of my root and go back. If I was going to load that, then I just press 1. See that? So I get it on my cursor, and then I just press 1. Yeah. So that that is, for me anyways, is very important. And when I started incorporating that into my Enchanter game, I started getting quick at it. And again, it takes practice. It's doing it over and over again. You get it into your muscle memory, and I can quickly hit Shift F. It pops open my spell book, and then swap spells in and out. So that is how you do that. Again, this stuff you're gonna see in the clips that are going to be coming. Like, I do it all the time. I'm the Enchanter. If you play one, you're always opening up spell books, and I'm always trying to find ways to get faster and more efficient. Okay, so let's go to the note here. Now we are going to go over the spell gems and what keys I use to cast all my spell gems. So essentially from 1 to 5, I use on my number key 1 to 5. And I do it the same order every time, so it's built into memory. So 1 to 5 is the number buttons 1 to 5, up above your QWERT keys. 6, now here's where I get into the hotkeys, because like 6 for me is hard to press to reach my finger, and 7 and 8, like I like to keep all my fingers in one spot all the time and not have to move around the keyboard. So 6 is going to be Shift E. So that is Shift E. So I can quickly target something, and you're going to see this in videos, and I pressed Shift E and it will cast that spell. Gem 7 is Shift 3. Gem 8 is Shift 4. So they're all like very, very close there. So again, 1 through 5 is just the number keys 1 through 5 because I can easily press them. 6 up to 8, I can't like easily press them. I have to take my hand off the keyboard in order to do it. So I don't want to do that. I want to keep it on the keyboard because crazy things happen. So Shift 6 is Shift E. 7 is Shift 3, and 8 is Shift 4, and that's how I do it. I highly recommend you have your own key bindings and get them into muscle memory, but I think like not having to raise your hand off the keyboard is extremely important. And again, you're going to see this in some of the clips that are coming up. So that takes care of the spell gems. Hot buttons down here, all of my hot buttons, not all of them are bound. It's only certain ones. So my global resetter is bound for E. So as you can see, I press E, and I'm sure all you guys know about the global reset trick. I've seen some people who like click, who will go and then like click and then cast the spell, I highly recommend you buying that key. Mine is bound to E because E is very close and it's very easy for me to hit, So I can easily hit it and cast spells back to back, which is very important. The next hot button is my Goblin Gazugi ring. It is bound to F2, and you're gonna be like, that's a strange place to bind it. I'm gonna show you. I'll show you here really shortly why it is. Pet attack is gonna be R, and pet back is T. So because all of my stuff is really close to my movement keys, I don't have to take my hands off the keyboard, and I can control my pet extremely easy, and everything is compact and right there, and now it's burned into my memory. So I can easily, I don't have to think about like pet attack and pet back and how to when I use my Goblin Kazooie or whatever, it's all built into my brain because I do it over and over again. And if you're a new enchanter, get this stuff set up early, like in the early levels, so as you're playing, it's just burnt into your brain by the time you're up into your 50s. Since heading is bound to my, it's bound to A, which I don't really use it that much. And then Loke is F, and the Loke is for my map here. So I use nparse. So if I press F, yeah, that's all F does, and that is all of my hot buttons that I use. All right, so that's all taken care of. E is my global resetter, which I use the Rod of Insidious Glamour. This, for my Goblin Kazooie ring, is F2, and that sounds strange, but I'll show you why. R is pet attack. T is pet back. Sense heading, it really doesn't matter. I just have it on there so it raises up to max skill, which I don't even pay attention to it. Honestly, I could totally put something else there. And then Loke is F, and I use that all the time for my in parse. Okay. Next, sitting. I have that hotkeyed as well. I do not come over here and click sit. I just don't. For sit, I use X. So X will allow me to easily stand up and sit down. And you're like, well, what about if you just press your spellbook hotkey, which opens your spellbook? You totally can, but sometimes I don't want the spellbook open. I want to be able to see. It's like, okay, I don't need to swap any spells right now. I don't want it open because I need to be able to see something going on my screen. So I have it set to X, because sometimes you don't need to have your spellbook open. And yeah, so I do not click sit or stand here. It is X will make me sit, X it will stand me up. So again, I use these all the time. It's not like I use it every once in a while. It's all the time. All right, going on in the notes. Targeting. Targeting is very, very important on Enchanter. You have to be able to target things very quickly, especially with large groups of mobs cycling through targets. It's very important. So I will go over all my targeting hotkeys. Tab will target the closest target to me. So say a route breaks or something happens, that mob is running towards me, I can just quickly hit tab and then do whatever, mez it or root it or stun it or do whatever. So tab is always target closest target. Shift tab cycles through, it'll cycle through mobs. So say I have a big pile of mobs, I hit shift tab, it'll go to one mob and then it'll go to the next mob. And I'm sure you guys know about that, but trying to click through mobs is so hard if they're in a big pile. Being able to easily cycle through your targets using a hotkey is extremely important. And if you do not have that hotkeyed, you're gonna want a hotkey. Have whatever keys you want to use. I'm just telling you what I use. Have target your closest mob, which for me is tab, and then have cycle through your targets, which is shift tab. Is it called cycle through your targets? It is cycle through the nearest NPCs. The next one, hold on, let me look at my notes, guys. I got to keep it all together. So I'm sitting, targeting. Okay, so that's what I use to target right now. What I will do is cut off to a clip and show you guys where I have a large blob of mobs, and then I use shift tab to get through targets quickly and like mez and root and do everything. And as you can see, it is very, very fast. So without further ado, here is our first clip. Here we go. All right, so there you go. There you can see is a really good example of when I have a group of mobs. I need to be able to quickly go through Tash or Root and do all that crazy stuff. And if I was clicking, it would be really difficult. So have your target macros bound to keys. For me, again, tab is target the nearest target, and then shift tab, it cycles through targets. Now, the next target macro that I have is here. I'll show you guys actually LTO. It's target the last two targets, and I have it bound on two keys. The first one is tilde. I use tilde all the time, which will flop back and forth in between two targets. And I'll show you a clip here in a second. Essentially, what I mainly use it for is, say I have three mobs, I have two rooted, and I have one as my pet. The two that I have rooted that I'm killing, I want to keep them at even health. So I'm backing my pet off, and I'm attacking the one that is higher health. And then if that one drops below the other mobs that have rooted health, then I back the pet off and I target the other mob, and I try to keep their health at the same level, so when my pet dies, both mobs are at the same health, and I will flop back and forth between the last two mobs that I have rooted with tilde and F3. I'll get to that. I'll get to this in a moment. But right now, here's a small clip of where I have one pet, two rooted mobs, and I'm using tilde to go back and forth each rooted pet's health, and I'm backing my pet off and attacking the one that has higher health, and I'm flip-flopping constantly back and forth because I want to keep the two rooted target's health at the same health. So when my pet die or I break charm and kill my pet, they're at the same health. Anyways, without further ado, here is the little small clip of that. Here we go. Alright, so there's a small clip of me using tilde to quickly flop back and forth in between two targets. Now, the next thing we're going to move on to is going to be breaking charm. On an enchanter, it is extremely important that you can break charm very quickly for whatever reason. Your pet's getting low and you want to kill it to get the full experience, or you gave your pet a bunch of awesome weapons and it's almost in danger of dying and you got to quickly break. So breaking charm quickly is vital on the enchanter, and I'll go over those key bindings next. The first thing I have bound is F1. F1, as you can see, will target myself. When you have a pet and you press F1, it'll automatically target you. If you press F1 again, it'll target your pet. You press F1 again, it'll target yourself. Now, this does a couple different things. The first thing is it puts your pet on last target. The second thing it does is it targets back to yourself so that you can use your Goblin Gazugi ring. Because with the Goblin Gazugi ring, it is targeted. So if you have your pet selected and you click your Goblin Gazugi ring, then you're gonna like invis your pet. Essentially, it's not gonna do anything. It just won't do anything. So F1, you press F1 once, it targets yourself. You press F1 again, it goes to your pet, and then you press F1 and it comes back to yourself. Now the second hotkey comes in, which is bound to F2, which is my Goblin Gazugi ring. When you have yourself targeted, as you guys know, if you have one, I press F2, it uses the ring, and that makes me invis, which then breaks charm. The second key that I have is bound to F3, and as you can see, it goes back to your last target. Now, since you've already pressed F1, your pet is on last target. So what this will do is it'll target your pet, who is now broke charm and is running toward you and is ready to friggin' front kick you right in the throat. So that will allow you to easily, if you need to mez it, or if you have the distance, or root it, or whatever. In most situations, you're going to stun it. So you break the charm, it runs towards you. It's already targeted because you already have your hotkey set up, which then you stun it and do whatever. Nuke it down, or mez it, or root it. Whatever the situation calls for. So again, the sequence of buttons on how I do it, again, bind it, whatever buttons you are comfortable with. It's F1, 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 F2, F3. And I like them on my F keys because they are very, very close, and I can do it really, really quickly. F1, 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 F2, F3. And then that will, like, within a half a second, even a second, or whatever, it'll instantly break your charm. So that's how I do it. Again, have it all bound. Have all your keys bound, and that's just how I do it. If you want to bind it, put them on different keys, cool, but I would have like a sequence of keys like that. That's extremely easy. And the F1, F2, and F3 are very easy for me. So let's go ahead and go into the next clip, which will show this in action. It'll show how again, F1, 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 F2, F3, and it'll quickly break charm. Without further ado, the clip is coming up now. Alright, so there's a small clip on quickly breaking charm. Again, guys, bind it how you want it, but have it on easily accessible keys where you like don't have to reach all over the keyboard. You know, again, mine's on F1, F2, F3, so it's really easy, and it's just a sequence of keys. And that pretty much kind of sums everything up and all of my key bindings. I'm going to show one more clip. It's going to be a longer clip at the end. That's going to wrap everything together. It's a crazy clip, and I'm going to try something I've never done before. I'm going to try to commentate through this one because it was really fun. And I honestly, some points I didn't know what to do. You know, hindsight's always 20/20, and when I go back and look at it now, you know, there are other things. But let's get on to that clip. Let me turn this off. Let's do something fancy. I'll see. I don't even know how this is even going to turn out. I've never done anything like this before. So let me go OBS, and we're going to turn on VLC, turn off this. Okay. I think it looks okay. Next, we'll go here. All right, so let me set the stage right here. I have these two mobs, and I'm going to do my charmy charm thing. What you'll see in a second. Right here, I'm going to mez them both and start the kill. But I think at one point, I was like, well, I don't want to just kill two at a time. I want to kill a bunch at a time because it's more exciting and it is more fun. So watch everything in action. How I am like targeting, tab targeting, opening spellbook with my hotkeys and whatnot. This is kind of cool. I've never done this before. All right, cool. Harm touch. It just went off. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun doing this. So at this point, I root it, and then I usually tash afterwards. Yep, there we go. And this is the point where I was like, well, I like to kill a couple at a time because it's faster and it's more experience. So these guys were up. I'm like, cool. I'll just send in the pet. And you think it's going to be easier? I've done it a bunch of times. It shouldn't be too hard. Now watch what happens. Watch what happens. And I didn't even realize it happened until it was too late, or maybe I could have done something else. So now I'm back in the boom, charm breaks, and I didn't realize it till like here, or maybe I could have got a mez off. And I was like, oh crap, look I got harm touch, my freaking 8 through rune 5, 8 through all my berserker spirit, and like dropped me almost down to half health. So at this point, like you're kind of in a panic, like oh crap, what do I do? So I'm locking everything down and I'm trying to decide what am I going to do. Now at this point I start rooting and I forget which ones I have rooted. Like I don't even know if I had them all rooted because it's a high stress situation. This freaking playing Enchanter is hard for me. So then I proceed to reroute, which it wastes a lot of mana, but it's just when I lose track as I'm tab targeting, I was like, okay, I don't know which ones I have rooted, so I'm just going to reroute everything all over again. So what do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5, including that guy over here, and I'm going to get a root up on him just for good measure. Now at this point, like I don't like it. I have no rune 5 up. I don't have a berserker spirit up, and like I could easily die here. If there's bad RNG, roots break or whatever, then it's going to be a bad day. So here, like I always do, I tash. At this point, I already know I made sure that I had everything rooted. So now we will start the charm. And right here, like how are you going to click in this? You can't click each mob, so I have to tab target. I'm down to 47% mana, and I'm like, I gotta at least get a Berserker Spirit up. I can't afford a Rune 5. It just cost way too much mana. If I would have had more mana, then I would have totally, again, hindsight's 2020, but I would have totally popped a Rune 5. I just didn't have the mana because I wasted it on rerouting everything. Like, and I think in this moment too, I'm like, I don't even care if my pet dies and I lose experience. Like, I just want to survive. I just want to survive. Here I'm like typing because I wasn't expecting to freaking commentate through this. Should I kill or reset? Because I could reset totally. I could AoE mess everything. I could blanket Membler everything and then just reset. But I said, screw it. I'm just YOLO. But here, great examples. I am quickly targeting and switching spells. Using all my hotkeys. As you can see, I rarely ever click anything. And right now I'm just praying. Like, I really hope that no roots break or whatever. Luckily, my pet took a couple of the harm touches. Didn't take all of them, but luckily he took a couple of harm touches, so I didn't just get blasted by 3 of them. Now, at this point, I do have timers going, so I'm getting low on timers, so I'm going to reroute. You might say, well, what about Gina? I don't use Gina, so I didn't know that like charm break. Gina, if you get charm breaks, you can set it so it tells you. But like I don't have that. Because you guys know I play on Linux. Now there is a workaround that I'm working on, so hopefully I can get that set up. Now, right now, I had a root break. I don't know which one it is because everything, so now I have to reroute everything because I don't know which one it is. Which sucks because it takes more, well, even more mana. So you see that? I'm loading up nukes because we have 2 mobs who are about dead. And there's my F1, 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 F2, F3 quickly in like a half a second. And I don't even know. I think I lost that one. Yep, I lost one. Now I'm like, okay, I have 2. I'm dangerously low on mana. I need Theft of Thought really bad. And you can see on that, on the last time I sat down, I used X. I didn't use a spell book. And at this point, I'm like, I need a Theft of Thought because if I charm, it's going to get me low, and if I get like any sort of like charm breaks or root breaks, I'm not going to have enough mana to get everything locked down again. So there's my Theft of Thought. I desperately needed that. Now I like feel more comfortable. I'm like, okay, down to 2. I'm at 50% mana. At this point, I want to pillage enchantment to break the root and then stun. And I don't know how I targeted that one. I don't know if I used tabbed because that was my closest target, or maybe I already had it targeted. I don't even know. Now at this point, like, the mob that I'm killing is way lower health than the mob that I have. So like I'm like, well, I don't have the mana to nuke it down, and that would be ridiculous anyways. So at this point, like, I know, like, after this, I need to reset because I need to med. And I gave myself a Berserker Spirit because I always have that up. I have been asked about that. Well, should I use it? Yes. Use Rune 5 and Berserker Spirit all the time. And always have your Berserker Spirit up in the top slot. They're like, well, I have people, yeah, but it only lasts for, a couple of minutes. Like, yeah, but it's so worth it. Here we go. I'm dropping this one. So at this point, I don't have enough mana. Like, this guy has a boatload of health. Like, I don't have enough mana to charm or do anything. So now it's time to reset. I load Calm and Blanket of Forgetfulness. I'm going to hit him. Oh, and then I just had a root break. See, look, I put fail. Oh. Alright. So now I hit him with a Calm. Now I'm going to hit him with a Blanket of Forgetfulness. So he's blurred. You're going to see his health. It ticks back up. That's 5%. And at this point it's reset and I am done. Yeah. Charm root breaks and he walks away. He goes off to his happy home. So let's go. Okay. Let's go back to this. Turn back on EQ and turn VLC. Perfect. And then, yeah. Hey, how you guys like that? How do you like that? Okay, so there you go of a crazy clip where you get some bad RNG and that's tying everything together. All my hotkeys, and you can see like everything in action. As you can see, I like rarely ever click. I do sometimes, but like it's rare. Everything is hotkey. But I think that's going to do it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. This was a different video for me that I've done because I had to do a lot of editing, which, I'm not that great at. But if I keep doing it, maybe I'll get better. Who knows? Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for me. And guys, I hope you liked the video. If you did, hit the likes button and the thumbs up. And I guess the likes and thumbs up is the same thing. And the subscribe and all that jazz, guys. That's going to do it for me. Hope you're having a good week. Hope you're having a good year. Hope you're having a good month and all that jazz, guys. Please be safe out there because everything's going bonkers. That is it for me. And peace.